Hey guys, this is Claudio Giuliano here, and I'm excited to finally be back with you for this new review. This will be the first review on the channel done in the new studio. I built the studio this past October, and I'm excited to do future content in here for you guys. So today we will be reviewing the 11-inch M4 iPad Pro. If you've been following along with me over the years on the channel, you know we've covered pretty much every iPad Pro going all the way back to 2015. And I've been someone who's been talking about the iPad as a creative tool going all the way back to the original iPad. And for those of you who are new to the channel today, I'm a graphic artist, digital illustrator, and large-scale printer of over 20 years now, and I'm a shop owner of over 16 years now. I also help develop creative software for the iPadOS platform with Art Studio Pro, and I've been doing that for many years now. So of course, we will be covering this review from the standpoint of the working creative professional. So I've been taking you around the hardware, and I think it's obvious that Apple has raised the bar here again with the iPad Pro. With the 11-inch coming in at just 5.3 millimeters, this thing is super thin, like crazy thin. Definitely the thinnest product I've ever had. And the 13-inch is coming in at an even thinner 5.1 millimeters. So these things are crazy thin. And if I bring this in and compare it to the previous generation M2 iPad Pro, you can see that difference. So where does this actually make impact? Because a lot of people are saying we weren't asking for a thinner iPad. Well, when you have something this thin, and then when you factor in the weight reduction, which is substantial because you notice that weight difference in the new M4 iPad Pros when comparing them to the previous generations, that means you're getting better ergonomics. It's more enjoyable to hold in the hand, it's easier to hold in the hand, and you can hold it in the hand for even longer periods of time. And that applies to both the 11 and the 13-inch this year. And this is impactful for creators like me who use the iPad Pro in hand like a digital moleskin or a sketchbook. I think this new design really does achieve Apple's original vision for the iPad. When design and engineering is pushed to this high level, that gives you a future-proof product. Okay, let's talk about this display. So this is Apple's new Tandem OLED display technology. And what we have here is two stacked OLED panels. And that allows the panel to get extremely bright. We're hitting 1600 nits peak brightness and 1000 sustained. It's by far the best OLED panel in a consumer product today, and it's one of the best panels I've seen in-house. It's really a dream panel for a creator, especially for someone like me, where one of my main mediums is print. This panel has the color accuracy and brightness of high-end reference monitors used in film and design firms. When I think back to what we had to pay for our reference displays for the shop years ago, it's just crazy how far things have come. Okay, so let's talk about the new Magic Keyboard. This year we have a new evolved design, which in my opinion is much better. It feels more unified as a whole, it's thinner and lighter, and you can feel that when everything is put together as one. So when you open it up, you are greeted with a new aluminum inside and a new haptic trackpad. And that brings forth that MacBook-like feel. It's really nice. One of my new favorite parts about the Magic Keyboard is when it is pushed to its furthest angle, it sits at a greater angle than it did previously. And this makes it great for when you're working with the keyboard and the pencil, and we'll talk more about that when we start drawing and working on the machine. You'll see in this example here how the hinge is more sturdy than the previous generation. As you can see here, when I push the old one down, it kind of slips down a bit in that spot. So it has a greater degree of versatility in the angles, and it has a more sturdy design all around. In terms of a weight comparison between the two, when you pick it up, you can feel that it's lighter, but you can also feel that it's more compact all around. I think when you see both closed, you can better see the more unified experience of the new generation of the Magic Keyboard. Like in this example here, when you look at it from the side view, the two slabs of metal closing together. It just really looks unified, and it makes the package look and feel more complete. If you guys have been following along with me over the years, you guys know I think the Apple Pencil is the gold standard. They've taken what they've done and they've made it better by adding a haptic engine, and this brings forth a new layer of functionality with things like squeeze. Here in Art Studio Pro, I have the squeeze function to bring up our quick menu. And now I have the added versatility of also being able to use double tap, which is set to toggle to the eraser. So this brings forth a greater functionality when it comes to streamline of workflow when you're actually drawing. So we're going to ink this piece here, and we're going to use this streamline of workflow with the new squeeze gesture. So as I'm drawing, you'll see I go in and out of toggling between this menu with the squeeze functionality. Now, what's really cool about the squeeze is when you do it, it actually feels like you're squeezing the pencil. It's a really cool effect. And as I keep going, you can see that I have access to all these functions very quickly. I squeeze, I get access to whatever I have in that quick menu, like rotating the canvas and things like that. So this allows you to create a workflow without having to touch the screen at all, as you can see here in the demos. I don't have to touch the screen to access the things I need for the streamline of workflow. Another function built into Apple Pencil Pro is the ability for barrel roll. And now you can just roll the pencil and it will change the orientation of the tip of your brush. This is cool for painting. This is cool for hand lettering. It's a great feature to have. And I just have to say that our realistic pigment engine that we built into Art Studio Pro, which allows you to mix your paint as you would in real life. If you mix yellow and blue, you will get green, red and yellow, you'll get orange. So when you combine something like our realistic pigment engine with this color accurate OLED display, it's the closest you're going to achieve to the analog. So I want to show you guys a demo of working with the pencil and the keyboard at the same time. The new angle allows for much better ergonomics. I float my hand when I draw, so I do often work like this when the tablet isn't in my hand. And I definitely appreciate that it can sit further back. The previous generation gave just enough of an angle, but not quite enough to be as ergonomic as this. Working with the new Force Touch trackpad feels great. Vector drawing and design is another big part of my workflow. Here, I'm doing some work with the pen tool in Affinity Designer, and the experience was fluid and responsive. What you would expect out of an Apple trackpad. The size of the trackpad on the 11-inch is still the same size. You get something much larger on the 13-inch, but the 11 still feels comfortable to work on. So let's talk about the Nano Texture display. I opted to not go for it because things like the pen mat from Pen Tips exists. And I think this is an excellent product because you can simply slap it on the iPad, take it off when you want, and you don't lose the brilliance of the screen. And it also gives you an etched glass feel when you're drawing, so you get a lot of tooth with the pencil. I've also been hearing that the Nano Texture doesn't provide any extra tooth for the pencil tip. So with the pen mat, you get great versatility. Not only is it giving you a matte screen, but it's also giving you an etched glass feel when you're drawing with the pencil, and it's an awesome product. I'm sure they'll have new ones set up for the new iPad Pro soon. I'll have a link in the description if you want to check Pen Tips out. Okay, let's talk about power, performance, and software. It's pretty wild that we leap up to the M4 here. As you can see, these numbers are off the charts. They're incredible, as we expected. I often hear that these chips can't even harness the power that they have, which is not true. Take it from someone who's been working on software for the platform for years. It absolutely can, and it will. It will in the wide range of professional software that the platform already offers, on top of things that are coming, like high-end 3D and sculpting software like ZBrush, and the system is going to harness that power as well. So I often hear that the iPad Pro is high-end hardware held back by its software. I see people saying that it's just a great Netflix machine. I just recently saw a video from someone saying that the iPad can't multitask, that you can't export a video and do something else at the same time. When I see things like this, it leads me to believe that these people don't actually use the machine and never have really attempted to. If you're a longtime user of the platform, you know the ins and outs of the system and how it works. And I think a lot of people go into the iPad with a PC/Mac mindset and totally disregard how the system is actually set up. Now, listen, I totally agree that it needs more work, but a lot of the things I hear people say that the system can't do, usually it can. Like, for example, here, I'm going to export a video and then I'm going to multitask, and that video is exporting. As you can see, I have Stage Manager open, multi-window support. I mean, you can pretty much do whatever you want, open whatever you want here, and work in something else at the same time. I hear people with very large channels saying this stuff isn't possible, and as you can see here, I'm showing you that it is. Another thing I hear a lot is that macOS should run on iPad Pro. And let me first say that this would 100% be the wrong approach. While both macOS and iOS share common Unix-based architecture, they are tailored for totally different experiences and different types of hardware. There are many technical reasons from an engineering and software standpoint of why this isn't a thing. It's not just because Apple wants to sell you both a Mac and an iPad. There are true technical vectors here that make that a reality that most likely will not come into existence. These two devices, while similar, are also very different, each having their own set of strong suits, specifically tailored for different experiences and use cases. I've said this in the past, and I still feel the same way today. The iPad does not need macOS to run on it, and that is not something hardcore iPad Pro users are asking for. These two devices, while similar, are also very different, each having their own set of strong suits specifically tailored for different experiences and use cases. I'm also of the opinion that when you try to do everything in a product, somewhere down the line, compromise comes to the forefront one way or another. I also just don't believe that one size fits all. I think everyone is different and everyone has different use cases, and it all depends on what that use case is. The MacBook Pro and the iPad Pro have great synergy. They work together seamlessly with things like universal control, and for me, this becomes the ultimate setup. I use both of these machines every day. They are my daily drivers, and sometimes I use them for very similar things, and other times I use them for things that the other can't do, and vice versa. I look at them as completely different tools that share some commonality. Before we come to a close, I just want to touch on battery life really quick. The 11-inch gets a larger 31.29 watt hour, up from 28.65. Apple has it clocked at 10 hours. iPads always get a solid 10 hours, but I am seeing slightly better battery life with the new 11. So in closing, can I recommend the new M4 iPad Pros? Yes, I can, and that goes for both models. These are excellent machines, they're future-proof. You'll feel that ultra thin and light factor when you pick them up. You get the best displays on the market, and it's a big upgrade for the 11-inch. The entire package of the new Magic Keyboard and Apple Pencil Pro gives the best portable creation experience you can find. In the end, the iPad Pro is all about ultimate portability, and I can't think of anything out there that is this thin and light with this much power for creators. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you like this video, it would be great if you can drop a comment, drop a like, but most of all, it would be best if you subscribe. Stay well.